ne lulimi mother tongue chiro obona shimamboho seshe shisaba esala mu luzungu lulimi luli superior isi hakaba habumbuki sabe mu luzungu ni ebiryo yose tsana batsowatswana ba koloni ate bashiyongera kutsowatswana busa ifananga nakusaba ku promotinga lulimi lwaye ni wele walumaya nabana besi naba isi na mother tongue bali ni yawe nebekomba kira tsowatswanisa baluma pongororo henzo watswanise ba randafu so ingananga kulya no gore bindu bili bitaru chiminyongo tsinganana ni chimisiro che bamasaba chikana abe kwa chinjisa actually honorable na makode ikuya nako kuli letwaya ule kubo wakanishiro menda inani aberana nga mwakaliro ko mupira mungoni muhoperundi ni muhoperundi ule kuba alomire menda inavi mboma muambire alomali inculcate warambise meyo and impart in your offsprings tsinganana chiminyongo ni chimisiro chenywe chebu masaba febi kukata biribirano lulimi. And by the way, language is the most important part of any culture. Discuss language indafuna muna chinya irokot wa de holini dialect says holini not nebi nebi kuna biteles kala we president ukanishira ku partnerships ise ingana husaba ho fera mubana be masabalandi kubone kuribale bano nga bali ni moyo we huyo. In fact nashebulile mundu we kamachesi alomar the world no longer cares about how much you know or how beautiful or handsome you look until they get to know how much you care. Discuss chiro bona mayo alomirara atsa kulera lidwaliro nashinira kumukongo ni root chiro bona Charles Amene na John Wanda ulera kama somero chila inabi ni nenye mwositsana muru huambira mukukobosa bonana umusani wose na bitao aliyo li somero ozibali chubeye oye na birireyo bahukana paka mule boyone waamba ali none kumuhono shakana kumunyelezi kwamanya kumuraishe sikuli kuholengota nengo muru huhola chimilimo chimila inabi inyene ule huba muri hukana muyete bumbasaba. So indini sanga alano ngende hukaniheni chi hukata shichimwe lulimi ngane ndimake mubini shakabili luchinji masaba we bale longo hone ankole kato tsinzi katsinde itsi baisa ni timundu hukongo by the way shili serious. Some of our leaders ni bali babo fubusange basi bakura singa fitso saira ari ni khuliso lya BC hectares of land ne tsaro lele luchinji masaba mboduli khoshina umanyelelo tsibona khungachi asiba balengelo shishino bakalunyaka ate ne lukhukata mayi wefe nga muli nomuri awa mata luchinji masaba chi khukata ishindi imaluye ba masaba isendu mushebe. By the way ba masaba shendi nimboka tichirendi ni speed ngali ba masaba nyenye mwakumanya ba masaba muli benja ulota atese matsima ishikhola research ndi kuwandika ku shitabo leo bana kukawase lisino lya nambeshe bajukuyo ba munickname nganga walumile road dema yalulwala ku mapesa kewe baluma balimbeshe omusana kana lipesa lye nebye bitwera ku byesi ndi kuwandikho ba masaba bonyene ngokanika nambaza ku tribe ya Israeli mbefefe kuli splinter group ule kuba bonyene by the way ukhuli ni moyo umukwalafu wa mamungachi wade khwabira mu bye shetani nenga hengubolele ni sebushe bibwaos namala busa kimyaka 12 natandi akhushepa arishebera busa mu seconds 2 naba nakhukutule lye mukali ni lye khungachi neshishaka nenzi esomero doctor a surgeon who performs surgery, a surgical operation. He trains for over 7 years to conduct a surgery on a candidate of circumcision. It is divine possession. Kwegamba kama ani kama busa khungachi. Ari moyo nga wakhutsule nga wahambile busa khumubili kwa omwana omusinde. Okhalabula ibusa ni khufurisa doctor osomela kimyakha musaba. Esho shilabo shayitsa khuba masaba bonyene. By the way, shakhabili shesuwela khuwanga moyo buso wenjawulo nga bamasaba. Mayi wose abwa bakhasi. This family planning is regulating the family using contraceptives, which has actually a very disastrous side effects. Mayi was ne shikhulu bali selfish nabolele mayi naya ne khalushi passing ro no bakhana bo nabo bamanya ari leave me alone. Wa manya huambo engasi whatever duration of time you agree with her. Anakhubwa. Yes. Ali ni kamani atashi eliva dika kasala busa buli mu family ta. Yeli mu family ta. Ndi na yenza nza kuandika shita ya proven ule obari na khubolele shema lwise wa nderano musinde nda khumbishepa no manyori na khubiti. Shakabili Shakataru fefo nyene actually na fira khubona khu papa umukhulisi papa salonda abo mukhupisi wefula aba khondola busali kula ari frenye ne yala kalabusa esho shilabo shili mu bamasaba bonye so bamasaba senga nembeso mukamani. I want to salute the Honorable Your Excellency, the Ambassador, who identity card, see, she have those IDs, and that you are going to decentralize centers here at the embassy to process them easily. But the fundamental question that remains and that should be asked now, and then you roll it over to the powers that be, is why would our identity cards expire? You have just talked of degrees which expire, and I don't know whether you are in government are aware that that's a huge embarrassment to Uganda, that our graduates are being rejected. Someone who is a victim of Bristol University and the other one in UK has even posted today. They have rejected them, and these over 2,000 programs are still circulating on the website of the National Council of Higher Education as expired, not under review. That's a huge embarrassment. But why would our IDs, which the process which you aggrandize so much, why would they expire? So that's an issue. Two, the PDM would be very good. Just like a myoga. Just like any other interventions by government, we have had a multiplicity of interventions by this government, which is about to make 4 decades in power anyway. But none of these are succeeded. I don't know whether you would quote any that has been successful. A myoga is merely a token. You see, it came at the time of campaigns, and now you cannot easily even recover. Recovery has been a tug of war up to now. Equally, PDM, I overheard the minister to be sincere, my good friend, wondering whether it will bear any fruits given the numerous guidelines, or guideline after another. And it has not taken or emulated where it was copied in the Asian tigers, where cooperatives, agricultural banks, cooperative banks, were the ones that were actually dealing with the parishes directly. We see lots of challenges that you are likely to grapple with. If you propose the diaspora fund, you would have my support. I'm a member on the budget committee, and I'm waiting, but I highly doubt whether it will see the light of day, because up to now, that proposal, if it's among the raft of proposals that you have in the ministry, I don't know why it didn't come in this financial year 2023-2024, because we would have really thrown our full weight behind it. It is very healthy to have a diaspora fund, given that the remittances we get from the diaspora account for 4% of our GDP. So as a beneficiary of their remittances, the best we can give back to them is such a fund. But if even the fund in the development bank has failed to bear any fruits, the cartels, just a few of them, just a click of them, exhaust all the money. I don't know whether this one also will succeed. What the challenge we have in Uganda is that we have the best. Now, these are very brilliant ideas, and we have so many good laws that cut us off the brilliant ideas. But the challenge is maybe to come up with a policy of implementation. Implementation has been the biggest problem. Diaspora fund is a good one, but let me not be a prophet of doom. For it to come to pass may require serious turnings of anointing from the Almighty. I want to conclude. Ngembaboleleni bamasaba mumanye muri kuli nishizibu nga mwakobosere kamasomero ako kamadwaliro shinakhola bulayi nabi. Bonani His Excellency akanila alomare kana mwakobolokhe ngo binanu nenyo shitufu mwandikombile khukobola ni musinde wose nabita alomare mubusakhulu inakobolengo nesho shimurisa nga walwalire anatyali nga wakanishile nabone Florence akanishile anelomenda ibusa walomare shitwera khu vision sense khuli natsonga Namca ubona khuri khu creating an improved community in the areas of health, education, and the socio-economic transformation. Ne why? Ureba no walomoi. Yeah. Umulembe kwao bote. Ay minister anga hondi uba waru rali mutufu henga ni katirometi. Umulembe kwao bote. Obonerela at one time, let me now speak in the language that my Muko will understand. These our colleagues, the Ugandans in the diaspora, would love to be at home every other time. And they have what it takes anyway to come back home. But the issue of healthcare services, I want to talk about the social sector. What are we giving to our Ugandans in education, for instance? Would you say there is access to quality education in Uganda? If the huge, massive enrollments are not commensurate to the facilities, you find that the classroom to pupil ratio is a serious, deplorable challenge. The pupil to teacher ratio is another one. Then the teaching, learning materials, what you would call a textbook pupil ratio. Actually, do you have even textbooks to talk about? But even the ratio itself is wanting. It's not there. Now, what we give them in the much hyped universal primary education, or universal secondary education, compared the product of this universal UPE and the USE, compare and contrast with the other one, myself, who was not a beneficiary of this. You see a huge gap. So what we are giving them may not help them go to the future. You see, the theme here today is that together we go to tomorrow. The future you Vamasava would want to go to is not a place. It's not a place you would want to go to with your children. It's about creating your own future. And you can't create that future if you have this. Our Vamasava who have the question you asked is, why did they come here? Or why are they here? They were looking for better opportunities. Healthcare services, good healthcare services. But 40 years down the road, a government in power. You see, Obote, just after 3 years, Mulago was constructed and the other was, he was shot in the mouth, I've remembered. Obote, was shot in the mouth with a bullet. And he was treated in Mulago Hospital in Uganda. Today, you and I, high profile, to seek for healthcare services in Mulago Hospital would be suicidal. In fact, someone would think you are mad to go to Mulago. In fact, you would see the powers that be. They cannot even allow their own daughters to deliver in any of the healthcare facilities in Uganda. They would rather charter a plane to go to Germany 40 years down the road. And you expect these members in the diaspora. Of course, East-West home is best. They would want to better their best. But these are some of the governance issues we have in Uganda back home. And I'm giving you hard facts. I'm known for speaking truth to power. And you see, you members in Uganda, to be in opposition is the most difficult and nasty job. Now talk about even why I say poverty in Uganda is an industry. Because if healthcare services fail, education fail, they all exacerbate the levels of poverty. They continue to wallow in abject poverty. Go to Karamoja. At one time when the first lady was the minister, I thought she would use her clout to turn around Karamoja. Now, the poverty index in Uganda puts Karamoja first, Bugisu second from the tail. We are at the tail end. We who were at the top. What happened? These are some of the very tough, uncomfortable, probing questions you and I should be asking. So we expect our good government that God has blessed with so many years in power to turn around the healthcare services so that Governor Bango of Uganda does not die in the neighborhood in Nairobi Hospital. So that your fellow ambassador Kaliwango does not die in Nairobi Hospital. So that John Pecos Kutesa, my friend, does not die in Nairobi Hospital. What is it? In fact, the list is endless. Because even Eli Tumwine, Nairobi Hospital, should I give 17 names? It will be time consuming. But the list, what is it that Nairobi has done, or Kenya, in so short a time, when we almost at the same footing? In fact, at independence time, or slightly after, we were even better off than South Korea. But they have put the act together. So, when we say that, don't politicize, it's not about politics. This is science of governance. And there is no way you can divorce it from this good conversation. Huh? So the truth of the matter is, I salute you for making very good pledges here. And I pray that you honor them because I know this regime has perfected the art of being long on pledges, but very short in honoring them. I'm concluding with that mapping, diaspora mapping is good. That one I support. In fact, it is long overdue. It should have happened yesterday because it is about a database where information is collected on the people, because even now you asked, how many Ugandans are here? You don't know. How many are for instance, in the Middle East? And the challenge of mass unemployment in Uganda I've seen so many of our graduates, universities are churning out so many graduates, but they all end up in the Middle East. What is baffling and shocking at once is they go there to do menial jobs. There is a call I got from, let me end with that, from these doctors of animals are called what? Veterinary doctors. The man graduated from Makerere, went to the Middle East, Abu Dhabi. And these companies, some of them are not licensed under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, had assured him he was going to drive. He had offered to drive anyway, and it is a better pay compared to Uganda. But when he got there, that job was not there. He was made to wash dogs, in a doctor washing dogs. So he called. But if you do take pride in that, then I would wonder what would be wrong. A vet doctor is not, the role is not to wash, honestly. And I wouldn't think we would encourage our vet doctors to go outside there in the diaspora. There is one, a reverend father who ended up looking after a madman. And the madman bit off his nose. He's back in Uganda. So all this is because of mass unemployment, but it all revolves around governance. Governance. Uganda, let me end. It is Ali Mazrui who put it rightly when he said, we are good as Africans in producing what we do not consume and consuming what we don't produce, including language. Ukadanavi, utso isabi khali byefe ta. Wata go bona gore byefe ni tsinganana tsefe utsi khula khola ni seta. Wakadanavi utso isa chimisiro ni chiminyongo chebulafu. Chiremba sabeni fenga ba masava nza khulanga minister. We have a shared vision, we have shared dreams, shared hopes, responsibilities, and even destiny. Ingana busa kube somo kama nini murame wamanyire sengana na umleve na wadalu ni RM anganisa nitse umbuke ne ba minister ba bofu ngabakani khata ba blocking ba opposition ba getsa ne fe go ya shin fa go ne kashi de arumle bono warambira atwera wadalo mirari basheli umule ne bashe bali cyangwazi babayele kimipesa kongo kubufuwe alum orusoko mutwera wasindishire mu bakemba shese omukisasati na umwami musira na musiro we Rastamani asindishire bo baka imbashese Mr. President wabashesire nabi muriyo mwanyara. Let me now take the singular honor to if there was a need for rebuttal, then you would have requested that in the future you turn it into a symposium. No wamba nebula ini vale baba. Avone yakara. So let me take this opportunity to ask the Honorable Minister to come and make his remarks. Mulevenga na yakara.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear brother. Let me start by recognizing the president of Namca. I pay my respect to my senior minister, the Honorable Magode Kuya, to my colleagues, members of parliament who are here, to Ambassador Muhindo from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and everybody else in the different distinguished capacities, friends of who are here. My name is Okello Riam. I'm the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, and let me thank the organizers of this function, an annual function, for having invited me this year to be the guest of honor. I'd like to, first of all, thank particularly your representative who is in Uganda, who could not come because of visa issues. Otherwise, he was very emphatic and very excited to have been here, and he was looking forward to making his contributions on what he observes that your community needs to do to support things back home. I am not going to respond to every single thing that has been raised, and some of them have been responded, some of them will be responded later. I just want to try and motivate people. I have that experience of having lived in exile 2 times. I lived in exile in the 70s, during Idi Amin's time, between 1971 and 1979. Then I lived in exile again between 1986, and eventually returned to Uganda in 2000. But the second part is what's important in my life, because the second part is when I'd grown up, I'd qualified as a lawyer, and I live in the UK, and I went through a similar experience that I see here. And eventually I made my way back home. First, on yesterday, I referred to the Bamasa group as a nation. As a nation, people who share one language, who share culture, who share values, who share the visions, who share, many things that this nation or Bagisu-speaking people who are different from others. And I congratulated the organizers and those who started this group, which has been in existence, I was told, since 2002. And I was impressed that since 2002, you've been to hold together, you're still together, and you're moving forward together, which is different from other groups which come and disappear, and other groups which come and get confused, and other groups which are overtaken by politics and lose the direction. So yesterday, when I had a meeting with the executive, I was very thrilled to understand the history of this organization and the seriousness in which the members participate and get involved. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you that there is, back home, I spent very little time of my life, youth life in the village. But having become a member of parliament, I really spent a lot of time to try and understand my culture better and understand many things better about my people. And one thing I came to realize, there's something called a clan. I've always wondered why the people in my village always have this feverish attitude to their clan in the village level. To them it's so strong. And me, I did not want to really be part of the clan too much. I thought it was, sort of negative. I thought I should be in the bigger picture. But I came to realize along the way how important that clan is, and which is a reflection now of this nation of yours here. In the sense that when you have a community, the backbone and the strength of existence of the community, okay, is either its clan or its nation, as we call it here. In the village, for example, my village, when a person has a very serious problems, let me tell you one serious thing that occurs every time. When you knock a person, there are always borders. When a youth knocks a person of the border of another clan, and that person is injured or dies at worst, then there is a need where if the police comes in, and when the police comes in, the person is arrested, taken to Kitgum, taken before the court of law, and the guy disappears. But the community does not want that. The community wants compensation. That person should be treated in the hospital, should be recovered, or if that person dies, maybe should be some blood money paid. But you'll find that one of the border doesn't have the capacity to treat that person in the hospital. They need about 5 million, 10 million. They don't have it. So what happens, I notice, is that the members of the clan divide that cost amongst themselves. So if it's 10 million, they count the number of all the males there and said every male should pay what? This small amount. And then it's paid to that family, and the issue is what? Is addressed. Whenever there's a challenge, the responsibility, a huge challenge, then next time it's somebody's turn, you all contribute small bits, and the matter is resolved. And it keeps the what? The clan together. And they develop together. They go forward together. And this is what I like about these things. I was impressed by the building you're doing in Bali. I was saying yesterday that I come from Lacholi sub-region. We don't have such a thing. I don't think there's any in America. With America, I don't think anything in the UK. Even back home, there's small groups, but this is what you have here is something you should treasure. Do not let it be taken over by politics like one has been taken. Do not allow members to come and cause confusion, internal confusion. Always in a family, there'll be individuals who will never be happy. And if they're not happy, they want to spoil for everybody. Please do not allow people to bring confusion or somebody to bring confusion in your organization. Tell them off and tell them not to be there. Please, if you don't want to be with us, go and look somewhere to what? To exist. We might be weak, we might have our problems, but let us have our problems internally and deal with it. This brings me to the issue with dealing with government. You see, when you are strong, united, you've got a track history, you get recognized. You get recognized by government. Each time the government turns, it notices you. Each time it turns, says, these people are organized. So when you make presentation to government, or you bring your cause, the government knows that this is a block. This is not just individuals. This is a whole block of individuals, capacity to influence, that determine many things. So it listens. It listens and starts to respond. Hence, I was saying yesterday that there is need for executive also. The challenges that they've had with UNA to start dealing with government directly and saying, with government that, where else we're grateful for what you're doing for UNA, and we're members of the UNA. There is also come a time now when our annual meetings need to have government intervention. Might not be as big as UNA's, but if they gave you $10,000 even per year, it is something to begin off with. If they give $50,000 per year, it's something to begin off with, rather than from nothing at all. This then becomes a recognition. There are groups in Europe, the Scandinavian, that I think there are about 2 or 3 groups there, smaller than your group here, much smaller than their group here, and they get every year they get 10,000 euros from us or something like that. And what about you, whom I have heard? I've sat here for 2 days, and every thing here seems to just be progressive, constructive, and positive. Why don't we go in that way and really encourage and get more out of you? If you succeed in the way you are succeeding now, the only challenge we have in the United States of America is it's a very big country. It's huge. So somebody to fly from California, San Francisco, to come and attend on the East Coast here, it can be a challenge. But I'm sure you can get even 5 times the amount of people here, if it was not because of distance and cost of distance. And the issue that they have children to look after, they're going to go back straight to work because the nature of the work here does not allow you cannot just take off time randomly in the sort of things in Uganda. Nevertheless, with the manner in which there's methods of communication, methods of keeping in contact with all these electronic gadgets. All this shows that you're united and progressive. You know, I said here, and somebody asked me, are you going to come to next year in in Washington? I said, what is this guy talking about? Yesterday I was told California. Now somebody's telling me about what? Washington. And I said, how did they change? So I asked my colleague Wanda, how did they change overnight? He says, no, elections took place. I said, how? They just said, they just did online. You see? And me, I was still thinking that what? I was still thinking of California. That's why I was hesitant. That how did they change overnight? But I didn't know that last night, you know, elections had taken place online, and I'm sure more than these people here participated. Can you see how, you know, what it means to be united? So even if you're justifying to government or it's justifying to other institutions, you can say, for example, when elections took place, this is the number of our members who voted. Registered members who voted, entitled to vote because they paid a subscription, and this is the kind of power we have. That's why yesterday I was saying that you have to start reflecting your muscle even in the United States. Why does the United States government deny your relatives and loved ones visas when they want to come and visit you and return to Uganda? Why do they deny your elders and others who would like to come to this meeting from coming to this meeting and spending a few days with you and going back? They're going to go back. Yes, if a person is a family man, he's left his wife at home, he's got children, he's got a job to go to, why do you think he's going to run away when he comes here? If your elders came here, the elders from back home, why do you think they want to come and stay here during the winter? I'm sure they want to go back home. So I was disappointed that the United States government has made it harder. It's making it very hard now to get visas to come to the United States. They don't deny you, they don't make it hard. When you apply for a visa today, they give you an appointment for the visa next year. Just automatically, you fail. Automatically, what? You're disqualified. So many of your people want to come for this function. When they applied, their dates for their what? Visas was next year. I tried to intervene in some of the cases, and the ambassador was telling me, oh, this is just a casual, cultural something. It's not the most important thing. If it was for health issues or something which is a matter of life and death. I said, but you know, this is an annual event, and if they miss it, crucial things which are supposed to have been decided this year will have passed them. They won't have another chance. So next year there might be new issues based on the progress of this year. Next year they have to progress. So if they don't meet this year, how do they progress next year, Madam Ambassador? And she couldn't explain to me. So I told the president here that you have to start putting your foot down. That we as citizens of this country, our entitlements, these are our rights, and we should be able to, you should be able to have some liberty to allow our citizens, our loved ones and friends to visit us. And if everybody got in touch with their Congress, or you write to your Congress and block on behalf of everybody, I am sure, this being what the country it is, the mud will stick. The same case applies to issues of the Bududa and those landslides. You know, in this country, there's so much money flowing around. If you look carefully, amongst these European countries, there is money. There's so much money for climate change, environmental this, environmental that. Why doesn't this organization lobby, petition these groups and organizations and NGOs and so on and so forth to see what they can do in terms of assisting in reducing or eradicating the continuous landslide there? Why don't they give you assistance to grow trees and the technical know-how to control landslides, which they have here and knowledge here? It can be done. I know it can be done because I'm in my small way also growing trees in Gulu. But I put about, we have done over almost 200 acres. And when we applied to some groups, they said, prove it. We showed them the pictures. They were not happy. They downloaded some satellite imageries from up there. Over a week, they surveyed the area and they realized the 200 acres is there, not cut. They did per square something, and they could count the trees. And now they're paying money for it. They're paying for weeding, they're paying for the workers, they're paying for irrigation. Just something we're doing in a very, very simple way. That has even motivated me. The next year I want to see if I can even grow 500,000 trees. Because the money just comes flowing in from this Bazungu. For just, when they count the trees there, you sign agreement with them not to cut it, it allows them to chop their trees here and exchange the carbon what? Credits. They chop their trees here, you preserve your trees there, and they pay you not to what? To chop it. So similarly for Bududa and all these landslides, please let's you work as a citizen of this country, an organization of this country, and you want guarantees and documents and letters from the government of Uganda to certify that yes, you're capable of these things. I'm sure that we can talk to the Minister of Environment, Mr. Honorable Cheprotis. I could also pen something if you draft it for me in the language you want. I will definitely be able to support you, so that you have mitigate these issues using the resources that you can get here. And there's a lot of it. If you go to West Nile area, you find this young Bazungu, Noya, this young Bazungu, they are growing trees, they're in shorts, driving. I don't know what they're doing there, but they're making money out of what? Growing trees in our country. These white boys, they just, because they are citizens of the United States, citizens of the European Union, they can easily get money from the what? European Union fund. He's French, he's German, it's easier for him to get money from what? European Union fund. Now, you're Americans. Please exploit that for what it is worth, including access. I see my sister has talked about building a clinic. I see groups I know you must forgive me. I'm not a very religious person. I'm a part-time this here and there. But those who are very committed to the church, who really are close to their churches, I can testify, Muhito can tell you here, the minister can tell you here, those groups somehow manage to lure. So I get many Americans building schools, building health centers, building nurseries, supplying books. So if there are people within your community who can access the churches or church groups and others, they can help in addressing some of the small things. Of course, government has a responsibility. Of course, as my MP said there, government has a responsibility to make roads in place, schools in place, hospitals in place, and so on and so forth. But to be honest with you, it will never be able to satisfy all the needs of Ugandans. It will not. So where we can subsidize in our community, this I'm talking about your community, not my community. In your community, see what you can do for your community. Don't think, sometimes, in a way I want you to be selfish. Sometimes first of all, don't think about the bigger picture of Uganda, for heaven's sake. Start with yourself. If you spend your day and night worrying about the bigger picture of Uganda, by the time you wake, you realize you're now what? Aged. You've not done anything for yourself. Then your children are chasing you away from home, telling you to go to stay at what? Old people's home. Then you cannot go back. the home. So first thing, be selfish, think about yourself. It's natural. Then my friend built what? A gorofa. He's really smart. Yes, he's smart. He built a gorofa. Now he can turn his attention to other things. Okay? He can build a gorofa. Now he said, okay, now I can what? Do other things. And that's how it should be. Consolidate your position, then start to see what you can do for your community. Don't look at say, I'm going to build a school in Kitgum. I'm going to build a. Who are you going to build a school in Kitgum? No, start with your area, your immediate village, the school you went to, where your mother comes from, where your father comes from. Start from there. Then, if you've got a park capacity, you've satisfied your people. Then you can say, okay, let's go and help the people of Kitgum. Because the people of Kitgum also are so many all over the place, the diaspora. Why don't the people of Kitgum do their own part for their people? Why don't they do it for their own people? So, you people should start thinking about yourselves, building a home like that person, building a place to live in, then see how you can do for what? For your community. And concentrate on your community. Don't think about the bigger picture first. Once you have consolidated your position, you're now strong. Then start worrying about the what? The bigger picture. But if you spend your time thinking about the bigger picture, Munange, I don't know. But I remember a politician telling me a story once. At the heat of the LRA war, none of you have seen war. Not even these MPs have seen war. But us in the north, we saw war for 20 years plus. People were living in camps, no education, no food, no future. We saw it. And I remember somebody telling me something which hurt me. He told me, you people, that's why I became suicidal. And I'm glad that he said that, because from that time, I became a different person. He said, if this is a hut, huh? And this is another hut. This is another hut. 2 huts. And here you have a neighbor who is sick in the hut. At night you hear the neighbor is sick, huh? Going through pain. You think me, I'll wake up from my bed at night to go and start caring for that one? Me, I'll just continue sleeping. Who got out of his bed to go to his neighbor to start going caring about the neighbor who is suffering? This is what somebody told me. So, sort your matter first. This is the reality of life. It might be bitter, but sort your matter out first, then look at the bigger picture. Then you can what? When I went back to Uganda in 2000, I left on a September. I was watching television around 10 at night. I was watching television. This fellow knows he's from London. Then there's a 10 o'clock news, Channel 4. And the man said, when you're going to bed tonight, don't forget to put back your clock 1 hour as we go into what? Winter. And something in my head snapped. I said, again? Just that. I said, again? Another year of winter here? I said, no. I went upstairs, put my television. I started opening the drawer. My wife asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking for your passport. She said, what's the problem? I said, tomorrow I'm going home. She said, go to sleep, please, get to bed. And I continued looking for my documents. This is a true story. I looked for my documents. In the morning, normally I would get up at 6 to make sure I'm at the train station by 7:15, which I'd been doing for almost 15 years. That day I never got out of bed. My wife got out of bed, quickly, started getting to work. Aren't you going to work? Aren't you going to work? I said, no. I told you yes, I'm going home. And she just laughed. Then on the way down, she took a phone. I heard her speaking to somebody in the phone. Said, this man here is going through a midlife crisis. He has a problem, you know? But anyway, let him overcome his problems. Me, I just packed my bags and I what? 5 o'clock, when she came, I told him, Nage, I'm serious. And I took off. She couldn't believe I'm leaving. I left. But when I reached home, I knew there was a problem. I didn't have a job to go to. I didn't have a house to go to. So I didn't have a gorofa like my friend there, but a gorofa. But I had a solution. I paid for my house. I got a nice land. I found somebody in Tinder. I paid rent for 3 months, 3 years. 3 years. I told the landlord, let me pay your thing, 3 years, forget me. Then I went to a water corporation. I paid millions for water. I went for electricity. I paid millions for electricity, covering a lease. And the people in electricity saying, you cannot pay. I said, I am paying you. I don't want you to disturb me that you're switching on my electricity. So I had a house. Landlord would not disturb me. I know electricity will be disconnected. I didn't have water. The rest is now getting my matoke, getting my, you know, bits and pieces. Now, that gave me room to start what? Organizing myself. That gave me what? Room. So because fortunately in the UK, I was telling somebody earlier, fortunately in the UK, if you got children, the state gives something called child benefit, and the what? Child benefit, isn't it? They pay you child benefit and they cater for child benefit, so you don't have to worry about that. So my children are getting child benefit. They're being looked after by the state. And from there, I started what? Getting a foothold to move on. That's how I started getting a soft landing. That's how I started progressing. So let us please identify ourselves, what we're doing now, perfect what we're doing now, ensure our security as individuals, and then start seeing how we can help our community and be part of helping your community. Because another thing about the community, why I tell you it is very important. You see, a person like me, I work around the clock. By the way, I'm not a member of parliament. I was not elected the last elections. But I work along the clock to try and see that I empower all the youth in my village for at least about a mile. The women's group, I give them some money. The youth group, I try to give them. I try and empower people at least a mile or plus. The nearer you are, the more I empower you. And we go on like that, out of my personal money. Because, you know, eventually age will catch up with me. My colleague there, Chief Whip, was saying about what? Longevity in government. But age is there, you know, age will catch up with people eventually. So I know age will catch up with me. So even if you're progressing, if you don't empower the people around you, eventually, when you're aged and you're living in your nice, beautiful house, the youth around you who are not empowered will give you a headache every day. You're sleeping in that rich house. What are you hiding behind the wall? Why are you denying us? When you are really making money, you forgot about us. They'll harass you like nobody's business, the youth of these days. The women from there, they won't want to talk to you. So the idea is, my vision is empower myself and my immediate neighbors, make sure that what? They always have something to eat, something for going for them. Then I extend on and on forth. Women are very interesting in the positive sense. Don't misunderstand me. Women, village women, rural women are very interesting. Village women are very intelligent, except that they're not given a chance. Their parents couldn't pay them to school. They're married off early. My mother was married off at a very young age. When her father died, I think her father died when my mother was in 13 or something. Then her her father died. Immediately the brother inherited my grandmother. And when my uncle inherited my my mother, when my mother unfortunately was young and her breasts were bulky. So this man said, this woman should be married immediately. This girl. My grandmother said, but she's still young. She says, no. No, my mother didn't have her father. And wanted her what? Disposed of. Then my mother ran away from home, joined what do you call it? And went to this, where they trained nuns, and managed to improve on her education there. But many others don't have that chance. Many others are married off and they become, produce 4, 5, 6 children. But they're very intelligent women if you work with them. If you give them a chance, like you're talking about a woman who was given a chance here. They're in groups. We call them, in Acholi, we call them boli chup. They have a small microfinance with money which they rotate. Normally 3-4 million shillings, okay, about $1,000, rotates amongst them. You borrow, you do something, you return with interest. You borrow, do something, return with interest. And there are many of such groups. And it helps the women fill the gaps in their families and makes them be able to pay their children progressively and meet their day-to-day demands. Why I said women are intelligent? I asked one of the women, who looks after she's the treasurer. How come your husband doesn't batter you, beat you to open that box where you keep the money? Because she's the box, there's 2-3 million shillings in it. She's holding the money on behalf of women, and the husband is not hammering her. You would expect the husband in this peasant's hammer. But she says, no, Mr. Minister, it's very simple. When he comes from there in the evening, that he's a man, he's proving that he's the one of the home. I said, no, Ladit. I just kneel down, said, Ladit Betping. So I said, Ladit, you sit down. When he sits down, he's thumbing his chest. I said, I just take 1,500 shillings. I give him the 1,500 shillings. I said, go and drink with your friends. Go and drink with your friends. So he just leaves the house. But the 1,500 is enough to intoxicate him. So he leaves the house and gives us space from being what? Battered. So by the time he comes, he's so tired, he just leaves, and he forgets about the money. But the women multiply that money. They're so honest. They're so sincere in their group that they borrow the money, 100,000 shillings, 200,000 shillings. She goes and does with something, and she returns 300,000 and 20, 300,000 and 10, whatever it is. And they're progressive like that. In fact, I had an opportunity before COVID. The Chinese government were giving trips, what you call exposure trips. I know some people don't like to hear about Chinese, but the Chinese government were giving exposure trips for Africans to go and see how China came from poverty to where it is now. So I asked the Chinese government to give me 50 of these things. And I got, amongst the people I sent, believe it or not, I got myself 15 illiterate women. They've never been in a classroom, they cannot even write. I said, an experiment, let them go to what? To China. So I brought them to my home. I taught them through what it takes. With the aeroplane, this. For a week, I was showing them the motions. I took them to my house. I said, this is what is the toilet, not your pit latrine. When you sit in the toilet, this is how you sit, how you flush. And I trained them how to, the process, and so on and so forth. But what I did, I split them in 2 teams. I made one sure in one group, there was an educated woman who would assist them in case of they have a problem. They went very well. They went very well, and they particularly went into rural China, deep in the village. But just to show you how people get confused, when they reached there, before they went to rural China, the night they arrived, they were taken to a hotel. And I forgot, there's something which you can teach people, but some things they can never learn. One of them at night slept on a chair. You know, these hotels have some chairs. Slept on a chair. And then when she woke up in the morning, when they went for breakfast, they said, "How did you sleep?" She said, I didn't sleep. What's the problem? Said, "I slept on the chair. It's so my body is paining." Said, "But there was a bed." Says, "Yes, but you people, you saw how that bed sheet is so white. Now, if I sleep on that bed sheet and the Chinese saw that I cannot survive. So I just slept on the chair, put my sukkah." And her friends are laughing. I said, "But this is a hotel." Says, "What do you mean?" Says, no. They took her to the room and they opened the bed sheet. Said, "Just throw it anywhere. Don't worry. They'll what? They'll wash it." Said, "We'll get into trouble." They said, "No, you can just sleep like that. Don't worry." But no matter how much teaching I taught them, I forgot that one of them might see things in a funny way. But anyway, when they came back, it's amazing. Out of the 15 women, 6 of the women have done miracles, absolute miracles. Let me tell you 2 of them who did. One of them was saw how a Chinese woman was building a house out of rocks, getting rocks, beating it to bits and pieces, and building with mud and clay. And by the time they left China, their house was a ring beam. This woman decided to start making bricks on her own. She dug the mud, she would jump on it, as they do it in Uganda. She cut straws and put it in the mud, and she jumped for 2 days, softened the mud, the soil. Then she got molding. She didn't know how to mold. Then she gave these children 100 shillings. The children started molding the soil for her. And they were molding the things. Then she paid somebody 20,000 shillings. He put it in a what? Heap. And she went herself and chopped timber with her own head. Took her 6 days to get enough timber to burn that thing. And she burnt enough bricks. And when she was ready, started building her own house. Not using cement, but using clay. Eventually, the house came up to the ring beam. So when I was passing there one day, and I was talking to one angel, she lifted her hands, said, "Come and see my house. Come and see my house." And I went. I was surprised. "Who built this?" He said, "It's me." "How did you do it?" And she was telling the story to the other one, Inchi. And she was telling my husband was sitting there insulting me. "You and your Riem, what do you think you are doing?" Just what? Insulting her. "Riem taking to China, or Riem is making you funny." Then I said, "Okay, if that's what he said, no problem." Then I said, "Okay, I'm going to buy a cement to put on the what? On the ring beam. And I want to roof your house for you." All of a sudden, the husband stood up. "You know, this is my wife. Oh, my wife is hardworking. My wife is hardworking." But she built a nice 3-bedroom house, and now they're living in. They left that grass touch house somebody showed us yesterday, and they're now living in a what? In a nice home. The other lady, we gave them chicken. Some other women gave them chicken, but this woman was given some baby chicks. I gave her 20 baby chicks. This woman today, when you go to her place, at any one time, you'll find about 40 chickens running around. She produces over 100. She sells, then she keeps the others. She knows the ratio of the female versus the male, so that eggs are produced for selling eggs and other chicks are produced for what? For selling. It's just amazing. If you ask this woman, "How do you do this to be able to sell enough chicken? Then you leave enough to produce eggs. Then the others which you leave to what? To bring chicks." She's the success. She's a beautiful success in the village. In fact, the husband, they're accusing me of having an affair even with her, even though I have nothing to do with her. But this is a woman who I can see, if was given a chance, can do something. Now, she told me this year she's going to build a house. They call it the Ponyo Kecho. In Acholi, they call it the Ponyo Kecho. Okay, just put bricks and he put Mabati one side without timber. She told me this year she's going to do that. So what you are doing for your community, supporting women's groups, you people, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, and I encourage it. Monitor it, assist those groups. They're changing lives. They're looking after their children, because these men will not look after those children. I can tell you, the MPs are here. The men will just, yes, he's too busy with many things. But you support the woman, you have supported the home. Finally, let me tell you what is very important as a community. You people have got to, two things. First, you got to start working on the mindset change of your people, the youth. You have to start changing, talking on mindset change. This dependency have to stop. Ringing you in here, send me medicine for what? Money for medicine. Sending you here, send me money to bury somebody. Somebody has died, they want a coffin. Sending here, we have to start changing people's mindset to everybody to become productive. Okay, I'm going to send you some money, but that is a contribution. That's not a solution. You want a coffin? No problem, but I'm not giving you the money of the coffin. I'm giving you 30,000 shillings. The rest you what? Top it up. So you keep reducing like that. We have to work on the mindset change. But if we leave your people like that and don't panel beat it towards becoming progressive and hardworking, you'll always have this problem forever, and it'll become worse. Worse. I was telling my colleague there that I do not switch on my phone until 9 o'clock. After 9 and 10:30, I pick up my phone and listen. Because I've realized these villagers wake up so early in the morning. The first thing when you read, oh, minister, you know this person died. The son of this one, the grandson of this one, this has died. Now, what can you do about it? What do you want me to do about it? Or if you could send, 500,000, you'll help us with the what? Buying portion this. Oh, a few minutes later, oh, this fell off a border. Now they want 1.5 million or what? For operation. And so on and so forth. So I've learned over the years, if you waste your time ringing before 9, your phone will not be answered. Then from 9 I answer because I'm in the office until 10:30. Then I turn off until after 5. Because otherwise, like these colleagues of mine, money. So we need to work to change the mindset of your people. Number 2, education. You people, if you can get some fund, education fund, and identify the most needy from each of your sub-counties. I don't know how many sub-counties you have in or required. There is need for you to get education fund to really get your people to get educated. This is very serious, by the way. My Muko is here. My Muko, this is my Muko. Let me tell you the story of my Muko. I just met him yesterday. But he's a Luo like me. You know, they also, like everybody, wants power in government. He's a Luo from Kenya. They also want power. Like all of us wants power. We want our people to be in government. But these Luos, when they realize that it's not a short-term program, it's a long-term program, a lifetime program. Some of them might not see the vision. It was decided that let's have a mindset, and every single Jaluo who has an opportunity should study until they have finished what is studying. Jaluos today have the highest PhD rating in Africa. Every single Jaluo is studying to be a what? A PhD holder. It's competitive. I don't know what this one is doing, but sure, he might be even doing a PhD. Every one of them. You go to Kenya, this one doctor who? You think that doctor is a doctor of what? No, I'm not a doctor. I'm a PhD holder. PhD holders. They're planning for the long term. It will come. Then how can you blame them if the entire cabinet is full of jalwas? Doctor in veterinary affairs, doctor in military affairs, doctor in this. They're qualified. Because they're all PhD holders and very experienced. So you need to educate your people. There is a need to make sure you get education funds and really work towards educating your people. Otherwise, if my friend, the leader of opposition here, chief whip here, chief whip in the opposition, even if he came to government tomorrow, how many people can he put in government who are qualified with PhDs from his area? He will be looking, and having problems. So if you want to help him, let's help him in I don't know how many years, 40 years to come, 50 years to come. Really, but by what? Educating. Sincerely, educating. So to end, I want to thank the organizers. I look forward to being with you. I want to thank the organizers. There is no reason why the president of this organization, when he goes to Uganda, he should find difficulties in many issues. There are many Magisu in important positions. They are there. They're there. Why don't they help him? Why does he have to go and be bounced left, right, and center? Even those who are not in government, they're still influential. Who were previous ministers? They're there. Why don't they want to help him? What's the problem? They should immediately welcome him and embrace him. So there is a need for you to interact, reach out to those people, and put on record that when I was there, I went to this minister's office and I was just what? Turned away. When I was a minister, I went to this guy's personal office. He's influential. You're going to make one phone call. Former ministers, we know them. They can take one phone call and ring us. They can forward one phone call and ring Otafire. One phone, they'll be responded to. They are members of the NRM. Otafire knows they're influential on the ground for the party. So when they ring him, they'll answer that phone call. On issues of internal affairs. Use them. If they don't, you can take it on record that I tried. But they never responded. So I want to thank the organizers. I want to thank you very much. I'll be back here. Now, my Mabugo. No, what do you call it? You know, when in Uganda, when you talk, these politicians know, when you're talking to one inch on the ground, in Acholi, they sort of karapua, they do like this. They sit on the ground, now they have to what? Clear the dust. So you have to give them something for what? Don't you do it? So my contribution to this organization, that as long as I'm still the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, or God willing, I become the Minister of Foreign Affairs, okay? I want to assure you that I'm going to give you 2 scholarships for medicine every year.